I was just
Oh,
I
that's so much better.
it was like this consciousness, is it real or is it a part of that? I don't know what is the difference between awareness and consciousness, because now I got the I had the realization this that the consciousness is nothing but the it separates, like that identification knowledge separates, like if I am aware about something, I'm separating that thing from the whole. I don't know what is that whole, but if I'm identifying something, if I identify Lisa, I'm separating Lisa based on that knowledge.
Yeah, that's a little bit intellectual, but basically, from what I understand of what everyone talks about, awareness normally, although each speaker speaks about it differently, and normally awareness means personal awareness, and consciousness means the big consciousness. But sometimes people call it self consciousness, and consciousness means the small, limited consciousness. Awareness in the person doesn't need to go. Like the fact that you can put attention on different things, so there can be attention on thinking about how to spell cliff or thinking about how to book a train ticket. So there needs to be awareness on that subject, or there needs to be awareness on working out how to start up your computer. And so a focus goes on that, awareness of the body goes on that. But that movement of attention is known by consciousness, or that aliveness. Like there is something grander that knows that movement of the small attention. What suffering is, and what can collapse, is this energy which is always claiming to be that personal awareness. So this believes that you have awareness and that you're moving your awareness, and you believe that you're choosing, and you kind of, it all gets clumped together. The personal awareness, the small awareness, and the ideas and the choices all get clumped together, so it feels like you're moving your awareness and you're choosing to move it. But actually, if you begin to explore that, you begin to realize that the personal awareness and the thoughts and the choices are all arising from a boundless space that's indescribable, and that there's something grander and much bigger and that cannot be found in this life that is experiencing this. And you can't really find it as such as the personal awareness, because the personal awareness is always known. But through the investigation and the listening to non-duality, there can be a revealing of this, and a revealing of that boundless energy which is experiencing itself.
So the thing is, the another question that is there in my mind is, if I do not know about something, would I be able to become conscious about that thing?
Yeah, the person knows about it, but you won't be able to be conscious of that thing in the personal way, but yet it still appears. So now the plant is appeared and it's known, but it's not really a plant, it's actually mystery. It's the mind which comes in and labels it as a plant and a green plant. And that's not necessarily identification. It's that energy that then after grabs it and makes the plant energetically separate from you, and you're someone inside here. But it's still known, the plant. In this instant, you don't know it intellectually as a personal self, but as wholeness, it's known. It's a presence, a consciousness knows it instantaneously before your interpretation of it. And the person and the interpretation is all going in time, and there's nothing wrong with that. These instruments are designed this way and they're being looked through, so it's the experience of the human, but none of that is who you are, and none of that is who the world is. It's just that the human's interpretation that's happening, and the human's daydream that's happening. The illusion and the suffering comes when there's a belief that you are that person, rather than that stillness that's experiencing itself as everything.
So you mean I am the part of that stillness, which is which feels itself moving, and while it is moving, it wants to experience that stillness from where it comes from.
Um, I don't know if it wants to experience itself as that stillness, but it is always that stillness. Who's listening now and looking at me is actually that stillness. but it goes through a body-mind mechanism, and often the body-mind mechanisms have a functioning in them which are claiming that they're the looker, and that the looker is somebody that came in this room, that's had a life, and that knows things, and has a certain intellect. But that's not the looker, that's being looked at.
Okay.
But who you truly are, that which is listening now, is that boundless presence, which never goes into time. But that boundless presence at the moment is having a human experience.
Okay. So can this seeker, can this looker who is looking at you do something to be one, to realize that oneness?
It's a tricky question, because doing is always going to happen, and so once non-duality has been heard, then there's going to be the investigation, but it's not actually your doing as a separate person, because you don't exist. But more than likely what's going to happen now is a carry-on of investigating this subject, listening to videos, going to talks, exploring what the actual experience is. And normally that coincides with the movement back to the stillness. But you can never get yourself to wake up, because you are a play that's happening inside the dream. You're not controlling the dream, and you're not acting independently. But normally what happens in the personal dream, in that person, is an exploration of this subject. So to say, is there something that I can do to get there, is craziness. It doesn't make sense, because you don't exist. So how can you possibly get there? But more than likely what's going to happen is there's going to carry on being an interest in this, and there's going to be a continued experiences, and that's what seems to always happen and seems to need to happen for awakening to happen. But I'm not giving you a personal prescription, because who would I give that personal prescription to?
No, but you're saying that by continuous investigation and by listening non-duality, so it is going to take time. Then time is involved, and you said that it is something which is beyond time. So how can it happen then within the time?
It doesn't happen within the time. There's not someone that actually wakes up, but it's a contradiction, and it's never going to make sense to you. Not that there's something wrong with you, but it never makes sense to the person. It is a contradiction, but you can't ever get there. That person can't get itself to this stillness, but that person has to do something while it feels like a person. So it's interested in this subject, and while it resonates with the subject, it's going to keep looking and keep exploring. And while you feel separate, I would suggest to explore the experience, explore what's actually happening. But ultimately you can't get yourself there, because you've never existed. There's only ever been this stillness, this presence. But I'm actually not committing to either one. I'm not saying that you can do something or you can't do something. If you actually listen to what I'm saying,
yes,
I'm not committing to either one. I'm kind of jumping the question. Because it's not true either way.
So that means there is nothing to choose. There is no way that I could take. I just need to wait for that stillness to come to me.
No,
I don't know.
No, that's more thought again. If I were you, I would do the opposite. I would investigate the feeling that wants to follow something and understand how to get there. So every time you feel this feeling coming up of wanting to follow something and wanting a method to get there, explore the actual sensations that are happening in the body. Normally there's fear going on, or there's a sense of contraction going on. Like, explore what's happening rather than
I have done it. I have done it, and every time I end up miserable. I end up feeling contraction in my chest. I end up, always feeling not good. So every time I try, so the moment I stop trying, it is like that it happens all of a sudden. That it feels that feeling of oneness, it comes. But the moment I I start search, the moment I listen to more videos, like I listen to more people, I feel more uneasy, more restlessness. And the moment I stop and just be where I am, and it just suddenly, everything falls into like
Yeah.
in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when you're listening, there is a sense of comparing and longing for that. But really, it's your own nature, and there's nothing that needs to be gotten to get that. But while the person's there, it's always going to seek.
Okay.
It will seek.
So I get no recommendations from here.
No. Even if you do, I'll just contradict it later. Basically, there's nothing here.
But it gives me tremendous energy, that realization that I'm actually nothing. I have used it so good at my workplace. Like earlier, I used to struggle a lot with my relationships because I used to think that I'm somebody, and for last few months I've started practice. I should not say it practice, but it is the truth. I have accepted this truth that I'm nothing, and suddenly everything is all right. It is like I can use this tremendous power, this tremendous energy of being nothing, of that emptiness, in any way. So this is something that I could say that I have been using, exploiting. Yeah.
Yeah, it does make relationships a lot easier when there's not
Yes,
a position
yes,
that's coming from.
yes, 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 yes. So earlier in my office, I joined this office 6 months back. So earlier I used to resist everything, and everybody was resisting me. And then I realized that I was trying hard to get my place to, and I realized that I'm nothing. I'm really nothing. And suddenly everybody was coming towards me, and things were just becoming good. So yeah, this I'm exploiting it.
You're exploiting nothing. Well, that's the
Yeah.
best thing to exploit rather than something.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, well,
uh,
nice to meet you and speak with you on here.
thanks, Lisa. It
Yeah,
was
thanks.
really nice talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Bye.